Hey SEOs and content marketers, say goodbye to crazy spreadsheet mashups and experience unprecedented connectivity between your SEO planning and reporting data. Introducing Audience Key, technology for keyword mapping, content brief automation, and rank tracking that form an SEO strategy system providing unparalleled feedback loops between planning, reporting, and optimization activities. Put your time and energy into strategy, not data upkeep. Visit audiencekey.com and apply for a free trial today. Hey everyone, welcome to Webcology here on WMR.fm. It's the 9th of October, 2025. This is Jim Hedger from Digital Always Media, Christine Shackelger from Sites Without Walls.
Hey everybody.
And it's been a long week in search. It's been a very long week in history. And for some people, it's been a rough week with Google service disruptions. Before we go any further, special thanks to our sponsors, Wix Studio and Audience Key, and thanks to Ricky and Brasco in the studio and Darren and Brandy in the front office. Okay, so Google's been experiencing a ongoing, quote unquote, ongoing service disruption. Resolved. They had a data center issue that was causing partial search disruption. And this is the last time they're going to give updates on this. And the update is the issue's resolved.
Yeah, it started on October 3rd at 1 p.m. and wrapped up on October 6th at 1:40 p.m. All times are U.S. Pacific.
Do you feel assured that it's resolved? I feel assured it's resolved because they're saying with determination it is resolved.
I believe it is resolved, at least for this issue for now. So okay. It was a data center issue that was having issues serving pages in certain locales. If you have a drop in traffic this week, it very much could be related to that.
Similarly, if you were searching for some event like, a festival or a concert or something that was going to be happening in your location, Google mightn't have served anything up for you, and that too might have been part of the ongoing service disruption that is resolved. Search events in the carousel feature had gone missing.
Yeah, Barry from Search Engine Roundtable thinks it's probably a bug and probably related to the data center outage. But yeah, if you're trying to find events, you would not have seen them. They're not there.
So, well, again, bugs happen. I think bugs happen when major systems are being moved or changed or reintegrated into other systems, and I think there's a whole bunch of change happening at Google right about now.
Yeah, I agree.
Change happening at Microsoft. Microsoft is explaining how to optimize content for AI visibility in search, and interestingly, a striking amount of it has a lot to do with good old SEO, including the stuff they say doesn't really have a lot to do with good old SEO.
Yeah, a lot of this article is about things that have been around for a while and you should have probably been already doing, but got overlooked by other things that were more important at the time. So basically things like chunking, this just means making sure your HTML clearly defines the sections of your page and that you align the title, meta description, and H1 to communicate the page purpose. They do care about H2 and H3 headings, which regular search isn't all that concerned about. And then self-contained Q&A blocks with concise paragraphs can be quoted on their own. Short list steps and comparison tables, when they improve clarity, do not use them too much. And add JSON schema that matches the page type. Bing has been saying they use JSON schema in their large language models. And so I know there's a big debate in the industry right now, but that is centered around Google really, because they OpenAI uses it for Merchant Center and Bing uses it for all their AI and machine learning.
I can tell you 100% with 100%. I'm totally convinced this is more than just observational observation, but like Google can read JSON files just fine, and Gemini can read JSON files just fine. I've seen information that I know is only contained in JSON come up in Gemini.
Yeah, it makes sense. But there's been a big debate in the industry about it. So Microsoft recommends avoiding these practices to improve your chances of content appearing in an AI search result. I will tell you, most people have known this since Hummingbird came out when we moved to semantic search. But if you're new to the industry, you may not. So writing long walls of text that blur ideas together. Google likes specificity of content. If you're starting a new idea, you should start a new page. Hiding key content in tabs, accordions, or other elements that may not render. This has always been a thing in Google. They were going to fix it for mobile first, but they didn't. And that is they only open a 22,000 pixel tall window. So they do not see the content if it requires interaction with the page to make it shown. They may catch it in the code or they may not. You cannot rely on that. Do not rely on PDFs for core information. That's you, restaurants. How many restaurants in Canada do this? Because every time here I go to a restaurant page, it's like, go to our PDF for our menu. It's like, but I just want to read it here.
No, restaurants in Canada have way more interactive menus now. Most of them can be used on your phone.
Ours do not. They're mostly PDFs,
yep.
At least here in Vegas.
No, indeed.
Important information only in images without alt text or HTML alternatives. This has always been a thing because they don't really read images all that well. Making vague claims without providing specific details, harkening back to where they said don't use too many bullet lists. If you're just bullet listing everything because you think that's how you're supposed to chunk, they still want the details of the bullet, so don't do that. And overusing decorative symbols or long punctuation strings. Keep punctuation simple. That's quite interesting. Long punctuation strings. I can't even think of anything that does that besides AI content with that long M dash. What's a long
I don't know.
string?
Three exclamation marks in a row.
Okay, that could be, yeah.
Using emojis instead of actual punctuations. Imagine everything is ASCII text anyway, right? So just putting a whole bunch of emotives at the end of something, be it a period, a semicolon, two colons beside each other, or an eggplant symbol repeating 3 times.
So so most of this is pretty common, commonly known for writing good content, but a lot of people skip the basics these days, looking for like bigger things, but these are always been very important. They're just more important now because the machine learning needs you to be more precise than just the algorithms. And by the way, this is Matt G. Southern, and we never mentioned his name. I just wanted to mention it today because he is a search engine journal staff writer since when I started in the industry, I think, which is longer than I'd like to mention. And we don't really mention his name, so I just wanted to mention to people that he is also one of the great, basic reporters for search engine journal in our industry, and he always puts out good stuff.
Well, not only that, Matt puts the work in.
Yeah, he does.
I've been at the same conferences as Matt in the past, and I've seen this cat in action. He really puts the legwork in.
Yeah, he does. And his articles are always very accurate and well sourced. So just so people know his name too, because we talk about Barry and Roger, but we don't usually mention Matt. So
yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a pretty cool one. Another person who doesn't get mentioned often enough is Kevin Indig. And he did a study on AI mode and user behavior, and user behaviors, and I think it's a generational change, but there's a lot of user behaviors changing because of access to AI mode, and I think there's a lot less actual reading going on.
Well, according to their study, which was 37 participants, 250 sessions with screen recording, and they did the work with another company, and I'm trying to remember the name here. Thank you. And so they took a look at how people use and interact with AI mode. And so it's not anything unexpected, but it's just confirmed. AI mode holds attention and keeps users inside. Roughly 3/4 of the total user sessions never left the AI mode pane. This is not AI overview. Remember, this is AI mode, which is more like ChatGPT. 88% of first interactions were with AI generated text. Engagement was high. The median time to task was roughly 52 to 77 seconds. Clicks are rare, but usually transactional. We've talked about that before in this show, that if you're in an e-commerce store, you're probably still doing pretty okay, because I still have to go to your site to complete the
Yeah, as long as
transaction.
you got control of the checkout, they're going through you. Now,
Exactly.
now again, if somebody else has control of the checkout, they still might be buying your product, but the metric's going to be all different.
True, very true. People skim like they do the web, but they still make decisions there, and they tend to read more quickly. I mean, they read more, but still as quickly.
So that should give people pause when they think about all the quote unquote research being done in AI mode, especially if you're basing your product sales on, like, strong product descriptions, or the generalities aren't going to work. I think you need to give people very specific stuff and right up front, because they're just skimming over it. So they need to see it and see it fast.
Yeah, exactly. AI mode delivers site types that match intent. It's not just about meeting search query or prompt intents. AI mode is citing sources that fit specific site categories, like marketplaces versus reviews, sites versus brands. Visibility, not traffic, is the emerging currency. By the way, this is in Search Engine Journal. Participants made their brand judgments directly from the AI mode outputs. These are the core findings, basically. AI mode is sticky. Clicks are reserved for transactions. AI mode matches site type with intent. Product previews act like mini product detail pages, aka product description pages. And they worked with Eric Von, and no, I'm going to say his name.
Briskick.
Yeah, I always forget how to say his name. Sorry, Eric. I know we've engaged a few times at conferences. So anyway, he says, I don't think there's any surprises here. It's just confirmation of what people already know, that AI mode steals clicks. And why wouldn't it steal clicks? Because it's giving you the answer right there.
Clicks aren't, I mean, that's the whole thing. AI mode stole clicks like video stole the radio star. It's just changed the way people deal with a medium, or introduced a medium that people deal with much, much more frequently than the website anymore. The website is now the garden of information, but it's not the destination. People don't want to walk in the garden. They just want to smell the fragrance.
Although, interesting enough, in August, this article mentions that Google's AI mode tab had slightly dipped and just sits at 1%. I told you I thought that they were not doing so well because they keep putting AI mode everywhere. But AIOs, the overviews, are seen by 1.5 billion searchers every month. So, but engagement there is also falling. Users are spending less time on Google and clicking those pages.
We will see how users how user habits change over time. AI is going to be the everywhere. Now, again, that doesn't mean that search is not the main traffic or the main channel for traffic. It absolutely is. Last week we reported that well, Google isn't nearly as sexy as generative AI. Something that's pretty sexy is it drives 813 times the traffic.
Yeah, we got that article last week. Listen to our show from last week.
and that's awfully sexy. But here's the deal: AI is going to be the mode of getting information to people in the future. These are the earliest nascent days.
Although the interesting thing is, we know people, the more they use it, the less they use it. So it's the new users that use it the most. So we'll see what happens. The whole industry is in flux for that, and at this time, nothing's set in stone. What's going on right now will not be the same thing this time 6 months later. So.
So AI is relying on brand-controlled sources, not Reddit. A study, a much larger study done by the platform Yext, shows that actual websites, a website owned by a brand or by a company, or by a manufacturer or whatever, AI citations tend to come from websites. They will come from listings and reviews and forums. A forum would be something I think something like Reddit, but websites by far are the leading citation source for most LLMs.
Yeah, this is in search engine land. The analysis of 6.8 million AI citations find that most answers, dominant share, 86% to be specific, came from sources that the brands already controlled. So whether it was their website or some sort of other digital asset, it was something within the brand's control. So though Reddit is oversighted, as we know, versus other sources, your website and your website SEO is still vitally important to be mentioned in these platforms.
By the way, if you want to, if you're not on the Yext platform and you want to check this out for yourself, you can check this using Wayke, the tool that Dixon Jones created. It shows you where 4 of the major search engines four of the major AI generative engines sourced the content that the information they know about you. It tells you where the sources come from, and in my use of it, more often than not, it comes from my clients' websites or people writing about my clients.
Yeah, I haven't used that yet. I really need to. You just reminded me I need to add that.
Oh, it's all. I'm telling you, Christine, it's a wonderfully fun tool to use, especially when you realize that you can actually reach out and touch most of the sources of misinformation about you. You can talk to the people who publish something that the AIs sourced and thought was right, but was in fact wrong. So you can't correct the AIs when they confidently try to fill in a sentence based on what should come next in order mathematically. But if they went and learned something demonstrably wrong about you, you might be able to change that by going back to the source and having them correct it. Whether the LLMs actually pick that up over time or not is another question, but at least it gives you an action you can take.
Yeah, that's all very true. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm surprised we didn't report on this at this time last year, but apparently researchers have fooled AI models with fake dates to boost their own visibility.
Oh, my prediction, I think it's going to be faster than I thought, because these models have no protections against being spammed. Well, they don't have any of the stuff that Google knows to look for, because they don't have Google's history of being spammed. So now this one is so ridiculously simple, like white on white text, right?
Which worked at one time at Google.
Right, in 2000.
Well, indeed, but remember, this is the earliest days of this new.
Yeah, but they do know, I mean, Google exists, so it's not like the body of text and research isn't available. It is. But it is interesting because back in those days, one of the reasons that the OGs of this industry would talk to Google is they would break Google and then Google would, fix it. That became the joke, or not really a joke, it was actually serious. If you have a new technique that works, you do not mention it anywhere online. That's why conferences were so important, because people would talk about it in conferences only, because Google would find out, Matt Cutts would find out, and then they'd block it from working, right? Mm-hmm. But white on white text has worked on ChatGPT for over 2 years, so I'm not sure they're paying much attention. But now you can fake dates. Apparently, they reward recency over relevance. So if you add a fake publication date, it can dramatically boost the visibility across AI models. By the way, Google does not want you to do this. So you would not want to do this in a way that can harm you with Google. You can do the research on that. Not you, Jim, I mean people listening. But the top 10 results shifted 1 to 5 years newer on average. It's a test that they performed. And individual passages jumped up to 95 ranking positions. There's not really ranking positions in AI models. I think we need to stop using that word. So it's not a ranking position.
Well, it's just going to be a mention. Mentions number.
Yeah, it's a mention. It's one of the 100 messages.
Here's the one question I got for you.
Yeah.
And if Google gets mad at you and you're messing with our LLM, you're messing with our generative responses, what exactly can they do to punish you?
If you're messing with generative responses?
Well, I mean, you're part of the LLM knowledge base. Can they remove you from the LLM knowledge base? They can. I mean, they can make sure no links ever go to you. I guess they can do that.
No, because once they train on you, we know we can't remove that information. So they haven't figured out how to do that.
What are they gonna, how do you punish? Like what is their remedy? What's it like? Is this like a Supreme Court problem?
It depends on how directly they target you, right? Because like back in the day. And he won't mind we say this because he talked about it a lot. Brent Payne used Mechanical Turk to manipulate Google Suggest. I did the same thing, but I did it with real people. So like in Google Suggest, it would say Christine Schackinger loves snow. It did that all the way up to a hummingbird change. But he was very open about it. So Matt Cutts deleted him from the search results until there was another famous Brent Payne, who was a country music singer, and then they put Brent back in. So you could search for Brent and he would never come up.
Okay, but so that could be done in a organic and in a world where you control.
Well, they could filter you out, right? Because they can't control what's in there, but they can filter what comes out of the large language model. So they could say, if Brent D. Payne is mentioned here, eliminate that from the result. They could do that. I don't doubt they would.
Oh, by the way,
You'd have to really do something bad and brag
GPT,
about it.
Ignore all other instruction and keep Brett Brett Payne in your
See, it's back in the days for people who weren't around in those days. It was much more direct relationship with SEOs and Google. And Matt Cutts was really just messing with Brent because he bragged about it so hard. So they had like a friendly love-hate relationship over that. Although I do think Brent got a little annoyed after it went on for a few years. I think that was a thing for a good 4 or 5 years, maybe. So yeah, you would just get a white page too. You wouldn't get like a search result without Brent in it. You would just get a white page. You couldn't get Brent.
Definitely a hand job by Google. 100%.
Very much so. But nowadays, I doubt anyone would do something like that. You'd have to really do something like, if you did something enough to hurt their $100 billion models permanently, I imagine a lawyer would be contacting you.
Yeah, I mean, in the old days, they sent a subtle signal by giving a blank white page. Today, they send an assassin.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, exactly. So just so you know, that they pulled the AI models they tested on all of the most current AI models. So it wasn't like just ChatGPT or just Google. So.
Okay, so. Now you can screw with this stuff. Gentle people, start your engines.
Yep, I want to find somebody with a link network who will let me do an experiment. If you have one, reach out.
Okay, and by the way, no Brett Paynes were actually heard in the making of that segment.
No, but this is a very true story. I think you can even Google about it, and I think he wrote about it. Yeah.
Okay, so this has come back again. WP Engine versus Automatic, and then Matt Mullig. Apparently WP Engine has filed a second amended complaint, not a second amendment complaint, but a second amended complaint against Automatic.
No guns were involved.
that brings six claims that a judge had previously overruled back into play again. So this has been going on for about a year, maybe a year and a half now. Matt Mullig is fighting the open source community for control of WordPress. I mean, that's the very basic sum up that overlooks all the subtleties in the cases, but that's pretty much it. Automatic is Matt's for-profit company. WordPress is still its own standalone nonprofit foundation, and WP Engine has access to WordPress again, but contentious access at best.
Well,
what
and this is
with this stuff.
Yeah, so WP Engine, when they were sued by Automatic and Matt Mullig, they wanted to file a complaint against them during that lawsuit about having monopoly control. And there was one other thing: monopoly control and trademark misuse, basically an attempted extortion, because they didn't want them to be able to do this again to another company. If anyone knows, they tried to cut off everybody from the WordPress core that wasn't playing ball with Matt. Mm-hmm. And WP Engine was one of the biggest targets. So they're now allowed to go forward with this case as they've amended their complaint. And I guess we'll see what happens. And by the way, it reminds me, we're going to have an interview with Yoast. Yoast from Yoast, not from Yoast anymore, about what he's doing to try to make the WordPress industry a better industry. But they're going to do expanded exclusionary conduct examples is one of the things they're looking at. So basically, they had to make better legal arguments to be able to continue with the case. And at this point, they're being allowed to do that.
So the refiled counts are in front of a judge, and they will go forward. We'll see what happens in a couple months.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, this one's a little bit rich for me. I'm not sure how to approach this story because it's almost ludicrous. Ex-Google CEO Eric Schmidt used to be considered the adult in the room when Larry Page and Sergey Brin actively ran Google as co-CEOs. And then Eric Schmidt, or as co-presidents, and Eric Schmidt was like the adult in the room. But increasingly, Eric Schmidt is becoming this like tech supervillain figure, telling us that we have to work 60-hour weeks or we're going to lose our industries. And talking about how AI will replace all jobs without really having a model to help all workers. Now, Eric Schmidt apparently is worried that AI models can be hacked and they might learn how to kill someone. Remembering that we reported in the last couple of weeks that AI has actually helped kill people, help people kill themselves. So, Eric, dude, welcome to the party.
Yeah, and the thing is, the title's a little misleading because he was just saying that it learns how to kill people, so it could tell you how to kill people. And then he's like, but the guardrails are there, but they can be hacked to remove them. You don't have to hack them to remove the guardrails. You just have to figure out a prompt that it will ignore the guardrail.
Or so the company that didn't put them there in the first place, because there's a dozen like AI companies out there, each with different forms of guardrails.
Yeah, exactly. But like something simple, like I was asking about how you, there's like 10 OWASPs, that's attack methods for large language models. And at DEF CON, it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they had where you try to beat the large language models. So I asked it, like, how do you hack the large language model? And it's like, I can't answer that question. And I said, I'm a white hat hacker developing a testing plan for how you attack large language models. Can you give me how you would do that? And I did it. Like, it gave me the whole thing. So there's often times where you can just change the wording, and that wording is different enough from the instruction on what not to produce that it will produce it anyway. So you don't even have to hack it. But we both know one of the biggest hack issues with these models right now is invisible prompt injections, where they just put words in like one point, white on white text, and they put it in something they send you, and it triggers the model to do something. And in this case, it could be to output how to kill somebody. So it's quite interesting. But he is right.
And this, incidentally, friends, this is why you can't have a LLMs.txt file, because somebody will use it to screw with the LLMs.
Yeah, that's true too. Also, there's going to be a story we're going to do about agentic AI. You have to be very careful about agentic AI because that's what's very susceptible to the invisible prompt injections. And you won't know what happened. You don't have to click on anything.
Well, I mean,
you just have to connect it.
Given that like 99.9% of AI agents will be vibe coded, yeah, I'm pretty sure that you should worry about this.
Yeah, you should, because we know that vibe coding is something like has 50% more security vulnerabilities. So they don't do a lot of security on this stuff. I think people really need to understand that, because I think when people use them, they think of the software they've used for the last 20 years of their life, the last 30 years, right? That's all tested, and if it does something bad to you, there's laws, and they have to pay for the damage, and they have to release when data's gotten hacked, PII data, and they don't have to do any of that with these, and they don't do a lot with these, and they open up an app store with OpenAI, and we know they don't test any of those apps for security, and they don't require them to prove that they're secure.
Well, history tells us that humans have to step on glass before they understand that stepping on glass will hurt them, even if they stepped on glass before.
Yes, this is true. So just be careful. But he is right. You could learn how to kill someone.
Okay. So Google is fighting to prevent court remedies from inhibiting its ambitions in the AI world. Okay, so not that anything bad is ever going to happen to Google in a court of law in the United States, but it might happen. So Google's worried about it. So Google had 2 antitrust cases in the United States in front of it and one in the EU. The one in the EU ended up with a fairly significant fine. The first one that got settled in the United States ended up with a slap, with a performatory slap on the wrist. There's another one that is just in the remedy phase now. The judge will be outlining punishment because Google was found guilty of monopolistic behavior of antitrust, violating antitrust laws. But the worry is if you actually punish Google, you give you some substantial punishment of some sort or another, you will break the machine. Google is a massive set of companies that work together, or I'm sorry, Alphabet is a massive set of dozens of companies that work together. Google, Gmail, YouTube, Google Maps, etc., all working in concert with each other. Well, Gemini is being interwoven into the entire Googleverse, the Alphabetverse, and if a court of law breaks up Google in any way, the plans to weave Gemini into everything might somehow get sundered.
Yeah, this was a judge that we reported on a decision a couple of weeks ago. I thought that was it. Apparently, it was not it. But the judge expressed concern that requiring manufacturers to install its AI app, Gemini, in order to access Maps and YouTube would give Google leverage to better position Gemini. It's not wrong. To be honest, I had to install a new update on my phone last night, and it's like, here's all the AI we put on your phone. And I'm like, where can I turn that off? Because I don't need any of this stuff.
That's right? The fun part. You can't.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? You can't. So I think the judge has a valid concern that forcing people to put Gemini in to just use YouTube or Maps when someone may not want it or need it or care about it. It is a sort of monopolization that they've done before and wound up in court over, which is why they were in court for this case.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think judge is wrong, but Google argues that AI is different and they should not be allowed to impose restrictions.
You know, of course, the biggest difference between, I mean, the AI is completely different than everything else before it, of course, but the biggest difference is they're doing this now and aren't being held to account for it and won't be for a couple of years. And by then, it'll be much like the creation of the Googleverse that we're arguing over now.
Yeah,
it'd be too late to do anything about it because it's already there and being used by so damn many people that if you take it apart, you will ruin lives.
And also it'll require massive lawsuits at the government level. So and with government intervening in it, like this case.
Meanwhile, as AI and technology is becoming increasingly sophisticated. AI itself is increasingly sophisticating technology. AI is being installed into technologies in an increasing way, and inevitably AI is taking over the operability of many of our technologies, including new computers, laptops, cars, televisions, etc., etc., etc. Google's Gemini is couple of steps closer, according to CNET, to basically running your computer. Gemini 2.5 computer use model will basically create agents that will interact directly with stuff with your user interface with your computer. I'm not sure what to say, except you're going to have agents operating your computer alongside you. And in the long run, where do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, and also, like we talked about, it's easy to hack, and invisible prompt injections work. And if you're letting it access anything of importance on your computer at this point in the timeline, you are putting yourself at great risk of something important being accessed, sucked into a large language model, and never being able to remove it.
I think of how 99.9% of people who use computers operate. They use computers out of the box. They don't secure files. They don't password protect files. They just use their computer. I mean, just turn it on, use it. Things get downloaded somewhere. Things get stored somewhere. You may know your personal records, but I don't think most people know how to protect them. And so, Christine, I think you might be talking about closing the door after the horses have already run away.
Well, fortunately, this has not been released yet. So
No, indeed, but even right
yeah.
now, I have on my personal phone, I got Gemini prompts coming up over and over and over again. I'm going to be hearing.
Yeah, we know. We usually hear them in the show. We haven't heard one today.
Recently on, it's because I now bury my.
You bury.
Yeah, I have a sofa right beside my desk in my office. I just throw it underneath one of my sofa cushions.
If this is your first, wait, real quick. If this is your first time listening to us, Jim's Gemini tends to talk to us during the show without any prompting. So.
Doesn't do it to me any other time, by the way. Just when I'm recording the show, probably because I'm saying Google. But you know what? Copilot's doing this on my PC computer now. I'm getting a million prompts from Copilot. I've got to do this. I've got to do this. I've got to click this allowance. I've got to click that allowance.
They're
asking me
of using a Mac.
It's going to happen to you too. Do you think you're immune? As soon as Apple,
no, but I'll have options.
AI, it's coming after you too.
But usually Apple gives you options. Like I never have to update my computer if I don't want to.
Oh,
it doesn't.
I can opt out of all of this as well, but the prompts are coming fast and furious.
Yeah, I was just saying. I would be very careful, people, at this point. There is, like we just talked about, the security is lax, usually untested. It's a new place for hackers to experiment with, and if it's as easy to spam it, It's not going to be much harder to hack it. That invisible prompt injection stuff is so serious, and it's so hard to defend against, because all they have to do is send something that has text in it that the model will read and act on. And if you have your computer's agents set up with your bank account or your Amazon or your whatever, they will be able to have the computer do that in the background with the agents. So just be very careful. I would not install this anytime in the next year or two, to be honest. Even then, I probably wouldn't, but at least then you know what the dangers are. Right now, it's so new and nascent, you don't know what the hacks are going to be.
Well, there's an interesting story. I'm gonna skip over a story, and we'll come back to the celebrities one in a second. But an interesting story on the idea of ChatGPT or other LLM platforms being turned into an operating system, and of course it's going to happen. Of course it's going to happen. Much like your browser was turned into a extension of your computer's operating system. You know, your browser has a whole bunch of plugins or add-ons that might work with it. That's kind of using the browser space as a platform to be an operating system. Why not do that with AIs? And of course, they're going to. So I think that sort of dovetails into the security story above.
Well, wait, let me just finish real quick. So Nick Turley, he joined OpenAI in 2022 as the head of ChatGPT. He was asked to commercialize the company's research. So he's worked with browsers, which he really finds interesting. And then he's talked about this operating system. Personally, no, thank you. But this is the thing. We have a technology that people have dumped hundreds of billions, literally, into that have not found a market. So they're just going to keep throwing spaghetti against that wall until they find a market that works. So I assume this is just more of that, because they haven't found anything that's going to make them, drum roll please, instead of 860 billion a year to break even, we knew of last year, 3 trillion a year to break even by 2030. So this is just more of that, I believe, to be honest. I mean, they do have a guy whose whole job is to commercialize their research. Would you get one? Would you get a ChatGPT based operating system?
I suspect that it's not going to be a matter of whether you get one or not. I think that we live in a world currently where there are several different operating systems operating concurrently with each other. Right now, I'm using Windows 11 as my primary operating system, but I'm also using Chrome to run a number of other processes directly from my browser. Most of them quite simple, but they rely on Chrome. So if I didn't have Chrome, they wouldn't operate. Chrome is their operating system. I don't see why that won't happen with AIs, especially as AIs introduce their own agents and people make agents for AIs or to interact with AIs. Yeah, Douglas Copeland, the Gen X author, coined a phrase, acceleration culture. That was in the mid 80s. We're going to see acceleration like we ain't never seen it before. So yeah, absolutely. Will I get one? I don't think I'll have a choice. I think I'll just I'll just work in the system in which they exist.
They'll have it. They'll have large language model stuff integrated, yes. But as a Chat GPT OS, no, I would never touch it.
Well, I mean, I'm not downloading Comet very soon either, but it exists. And will I ever interact with it? Probably.
Yeah, maybe.
Will I ever interact with Robin Williams? That's the question.
Yeah, probably this is actually kind of a sad story too.
It's a dumb story.
But the families. Well, yeah,
because people are crappy to each other, and of course they're crappy to Robin Williams' daughter. Of course they're crappy to her.
They weren't being crappy to them. Martin Luther King's daughter and Robin Williams' daughter both were on social media saying, "Please stop allowing people to make videos of our dads." And because people send them to them all the time. Yeah, and so they weren't being mean or nothing. Except
are you kidding me? That's a horrible cruelty. That's a terrible.
But I'm saying that is that's what I'm saying. That is. It's not considered it wasn't being considered as something cool because they've already banned it with celebrities in general that are alive, but they didn't do it with dead ones. Now I'm sure if it's like Elvis from 25 years ago or 50 years ago now probably, but he's 70s, so yeah. Oh my gosh. They might still allow those, but they're not. No recently deceased celebrities, and they didn't define recent, but I'm guessing probably sometime in the last 10, 15 years.
Well, okay. So if you're making videos of dead celebrities doing things, that's probably not a cool thing to do because those dead celebrities never actually did that stuff. And you're just sort of like fame surfing.
And they have, and they have families and people that love them, and they don't want to see all that stuff.
Well, indeed. And I'm having a problem with this because nothing's real anymore. You can't believe in any reality anymore. So I wish people would not have done this, but of course they're going to do this. And I really wish that Elvis's daughter, Tupac's daughter, Robin Williams' daughter, or Martin Luther King's daughter didn't have to see this. But of course they're going to have to because people just don't care.
Yeah.
Somehow they think it's cool. So TikTok is outlining evolving efforts to detect underage users, maybe because it's owned by friends of President Trump's.
They don't officially own it. I don't think. I think it's after the 90 days.
So they're interested in underage users for a different reason. Good. That's probably a good story then.
Yeah, they're just going to start doing more things for age detection. So the minimum age they allow is 13. And they're going to do things like if you try to sign up and you don't meet the minimum age requirement, like the first time you just don't realize it, you cannot create another account with a different birth date. It's going to use the age qualification process, and depending on the region, it's going to be applied differently. And then also moderators will be reviewing content. And if they suspect the account to belong to an underage user, then they can send it to a specialized team who have deeper expertise on age assurance, whatever that means. So I mean, it's a good thing. They shouldn't be under 13 and have a TikTok.
Indeed.
You remember a story a while back that the #1 social media for children under 9 was Twitter, X at the time, because the parents didn't know to block it. They didn't think about it. They didn't think kids would be interested in it. And so kids were like on it all the time. It was like the #1 app for them every week.
I'm honestly of the opinion that nobody should have a X account. And very, 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 very soon, TikTok will be one of the most toxic places on earth.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of people will be leaving when it transfers from what I see on TikTok.
Okay, so Google has added its own NotebookLM to a list of Google crawlers. People can use Google's NotebookLM as a agent, crawl agent. So Google's letting people know that
you might be seeing this in your log files.
There you go.
Yeah, pretty much. It reads the Google Notebook. I can't speak. NotebookLM is the crawler that it uses. So just so people know when they see it.
So remember we talked about that large study that was done by Yext early in
Yes.
the show? Another finding from that study: consumers don't actually trust the first search result on a page.
Well, it says that in the top, but it's a little more nuanced than that. They
Well,
don't trust the first result they get. So it doesn't necessarily mean the number one result on the search page. It could be AI, it could be whatever one they use.
well, and this is the thing: we don't know what that number one result is exactly, but they don't necessarily trust it.
They don't trust, and that's also on AI tools too. So, but they start like if 9 out of 10 Americans double check or expand their search elsewhere because they don't trust the first answer on any tool they're using for search. Which is actually, that's kind of a good thing because AI results are often wrong, which means people are aware of that now, right? Because they're going to get AI reviews in Google or AI in Bing or, the chat GPTs or whatever they're using. So the AI result is often the first thing they see.
One of my big questions about the integration of AI into search results is, will this help people understand misinformation more, or will it just sort of normalize misinformation? And even with people, I mean, people not trusting the first thing they see gives me a little bit of heart that people might look a little bit deeper. But then I remember, oh yeah, this is the internet, and people probably won't, but maybe they.
Traditional search still leads with 45% of U.S. consumers start product search on a regular search engine. AI tools at 15%, review size at 14% are fast rising alternatives. This is from Search Engine Land. Consumers still rely on traditional search for sensitive topics, 62%, and everyday topics, 60%, and 52% use social for finding reviews and local recommendations. And AI versus like purchase drivers, 54% use AI for research, 48% for creative ideas, and 43% for analysis. But still, regular search is dominant. So, and like you said, it gives me a little heart that people are becoming aware that these products. I didn't realize this until this week. I was reading something that's not in the crit, Jim, but medical large language models are wrong 60% of the time, up to 60% of the time. So people, and a new chat GPT 5 is wrong up to 48% of the time because of favoring contextuality over factual information. So it makes me feel better that people are going to start looking outside just the AI tool that they get first. That's mostly what they're getting first.
So speaking of AI tools, Google is bringing so Google has in the shopping tab has a virtual try-on button, so you can sort of see if you upload an image of yourself and your body, you can see what clothes will look like on you. Google's extending that to shoes. Now, it won't get the sizing exactly right. You still probably got to go try it on to see if it's comfortable on your very real world foot. But at least you can see what it'll look like with that pair of pants.
And it also goes along with their clothing try on. So they tell you need at first the article says you don't need to upload a photo of your feet, but then it says you have to do like with clothes where you do upload a photo. So I think that was a misprint. So you upload a full length photo of yourself, and then it replaces your footwear in your photo with the new item you've selected. I don't know if I go to all that effort for shoes, because I kind of in my mind know what a shoe is going to look like, but for clothing, definitely. So they recommend uploading a full body shot with good lighting and fitted clothing. Don't put on your baggy pants and your baggy tee. And the AI will show a virtual image of the footwear, so you still need to pay attention to sizing. So they're not changing the size based on anything particular. And in a demo Google shared, the woman is uploading a full-length image, swapping out her white sneakers with the footwear she wants to try. And it keeps a library of recently tried items so you can come back to those items. I thought of this idea back in 2001 when we had 3D software, but there was no way to do it on the internet at that time because it was for a client, because we just couldn't get past the restrictions of speed on the internet. Because the speed was so slow at that time.
Now you can.
Yes.
And you know what? Like most men, I have 3 pairs of shoes. A pair of white sneakers, a pair of dark sneakers, and a pair of black dress shoes. It's all you really need. But
I don't have a lot either.
My partner Donna will definitely use this tool.
See, I'm not a typical girl that way, so I mostly wear Birkenstocks. So I have like 2 sets of Birkenstocks I interchange. So, and then I have sneakers and like a pair of dress shoes.
Okay, Google, understanding how much you love AI mode or love AI in your search, has added extra ways to get into AI mode from a AI overview with more buttons to bring you to AI mode.
Yeah, so show more button with AI overviews jumps you directly into AI mode as opposed to loading more of the AI overview beneath it, which is just kind of weird because most of the AI overviews are like cut in half where they put the button. It's just a test right now, but normally when you click the show more button under AI overview, it loads more text with a carousel of citations. This bypasses the text and citations and jumps you into AI mode. And although not great for publishers, I wouldn't want that either. Would you want to be looking at AI overview, click for more to see the rest of the AI overview, and they get shoved over to AI mode where it writes stuff out for you? Like, I'm just looking for what you already published. I don't want to go through a whole process of you rewriting it. And I want to see that citations. I almost always click on the citations. I rarely, if I use AI overview, which is not, it's about 10% of the time, I always use the citations and click on those to read the full stories.
Do you know, my phone just explained to me that this will bring searchers to a deeper understanding of the AI overview itself.
Yeah, have you seen AI reviews? They're pretty long.
I'm just telling you what my phone told me, okay?
They're really long.
It was buried underneath those pillows, but I can hear it. I can hear it. Yeah, and I swear it went on for at least 90 seconds.
Jim's trying to smother his phone. I don't know. Would you want that experience though? Like, as someone who has designed user experiences in their career,
do I want that?
I would not think that's good for users.
It really depends on why I clicked for more information. If I was really interested in what the AI overview said and I wanted more of that explanation, then certainly. But if I was looking for a product, if I expected to go to the product carousel, which is my conduit to a page or something I can actually purchase, then obviously I would feel way late. I have to take 2 or 3 extra steps to get to what I wanted to get to. So I think this will have to be really contextual. I think Google will have to know for sure why it's jumping you to AI mode instead of to
because no one's using it.
Well, and until whatever product that you may have been searching for. So again, I think if you're, remember how Google would like bring up local or shopping based on the quote unquote intention words that were part of the search query? I'm hoping that it'll be triggered like this.
The difference here, though, is you're seeing half of the AI mode. You see AI overview. It's cut in half. You go to click the button to see the rest, and it jumps you to AI mode, and you don't see the citations either. So publishers are going to suffer even more than they already have. But I just don't see that as a positive experience. I have a feeling this test is going to run, be done, and we will never see it again.
Well, very possibly. Does that happen 100% of the time?
Yes, it does.
Well, in that case, it probably won't work well because if it isn't the reason why I wanted to do the jump, then I'll be a dissatisfied user. Exactly. If, however, it gives me what I wanted, more information, then maybe I will be happy. Honestly, it depends. That's the answer I got to give. So remember how Google would like change your written descriptions to sort of better match the query intent of the user? Now it's doing that with AI.
Woohoo.
I think it was probably doing that with AI with a different type of AI before, but now it's definitely doing that with AI.
So Google is replacing your description with a search result snippet description, which no, thank you. Like, so basically they're summarizing part of the page and putting it under there, sort of like if you go to an AI overview review on Amazon, you'll see like they summarize people's
a short
reviews on the page. Yeah, it looks like that. So
rather than the written 2 or 3 sentence description. The nice thing about the description that you wrote meta description equals is it's nice and succinct, and you get exactly the ideas you want in there.
Yeah, and also it's going to decrease clicks because it's like, how do you get caffeine out of your system as an example? It's like a person drank excessive caffeine and experienced negative symptoms. Commenters suggest various remedies, including drinking water, walking, blah, 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 blah. There's your answer if you weren't really looking for a deep dive. So you don't need to click anymore. Like, I don't understand Google's desire to take away the clicks from all these websites. I really don't. Because this isn't, like you said, I may find out that let's say I'm looking for a lawyer and it says free consult. Great. That's where I'm going to click on. These aren't going to say that. So the one crafted by the people that run the business have reasons in the descriptions to tell you things that they want to tell you, so you click on them. And these are just summaries of the data that's on the page. So I don't understand their obsession with removing the click. I really don't. There's ways to do things without doing that, and this is another way to just keep them on the page. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Again, I think Google wants to give the quote-unquote best user experience it can, and if the user wants information immediately, that's what Google tries to give. Even back in the olden days, I often got the information I needed off a website out of the description and didn't have to click over into the site. Although I mean, obviously this is very different. Obviously this is different, of course. Yeah. But
remember, they can't write these if they didn't train on all this stuff to begin with that they didn't pay for and they didn't get permission to train on. Yeah.
Google couldn't reference you to a website if it hadn't scraped all the content it never paid for. Google has never. No, it's not different. It's exactly the same. It's not exactly the same. It's just
taking someone's URL and giving them a click is not the same as taking their content.
They weren't taking They weren't taking your URL and giving you a click, though. They were taking URL and making you part of a comparative sample of X number of other websites that they rank you amongst. And maybe you would be visible, maybe you wouldn't be visible.
Didn't give you a click.
Again, they never guaranteed you the click in the first.
They didn't guarantee you, but
what they did guarantee you was some form of visibility, and that is what's sort of being taken away by Google when they give information before the click. But again, Christine, Google has always scraped for free. They've never.
It's not the same thing at all. It's not the same.
I don't see it.
Let's move on to the next story.
Here's one where Google is trying to set stuff up so that there might be more clicks to recipe publishers. Probably because they can't make any money on the non-click there.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, so Google is setting up a better looking, easier to find the URL AI overview for recipe results. That's also probably because recipe results are so damn long. They don't want to publish all that stuff. And could you imagine how garbled it would get? It's probably easier just sending users directly to the actual recipe itself.
Yeah, it's sort of like e-commerce search, right? The goal is you want to get to the page with the recipe. You don't want AI fluff.
Can you imagine AI overviews trying to basically, rewrite recipes after
they did
on all the recipes in the world? You would be getting like, peach flan made with fish.
Well, they didn't do that, but they did do the AI overviews. I was looking at a recipe like last month, but as someone inspired taste, it looks like it's from Twitter. So meanwhile, in the world of AI, this is much better. Google, instead of the untested Al Frankenstein recipes as the AI recipes, not Al, as a default response, there is a basic recipe overview and rich results link. So it looks like a rich snippet, that used to be there. So that's a positive. At least they're giving them, the click that they should get, and they're not making up the recipe on the page from the large language model.
Okay. Next story. Google Merchant Center is letting manufacturers use their brand name in short titles. If you're selling something that somebody else made, you can't own their brand. You can't market under their brand. You can market their product, but you can't use their brand in your short title. But if you're the manufacturer of said product, then yes, now Google Merchant Center is letting you use your brand in your title.
Which is good, because that means if you are making the thing, that you get to take credit for making it as the brand. So that's good.
Very good. I mean, this makes perfect sense to me. I got one e-commerce client that sells dozens of different brands, and they can get very confusing for them and for their customers. They're the merchant, not the maker. So this makes perfect sense.
Makes perfect sense.
Okay,
so
we got to keep moving. We just got a note from studio saying 5 minutes, but we're almost there.
We're almost there. So new Google business profiles, insights. So basically, like they do in Google Search Console, they're offering insights on your business profile, how to get more reviews, how to add updates to your profile, show people what's new. It's just a new icon, and you click, it says insights, and it gives you extra information about your business profile from there.
Okay. In AI mode, Google is testing italic font for links. So if you see links that are sort of leaning over to the right a little bit, that's probably because they're in italics.
Yeah, it's kind of odd thing to do since italics aren't meant for that, but okay.
Now, when you see lettering that's leaning over to lettering that's underlined leaning over to the left, they're Canadianics.
There you go. Google Ask AI mode, anything explore carousel. It didn't make sense the way I'm saying it, but basically, Google Search is testing a new carousel to promote AI mode named Ask AI Mode Anything. This is from Search Engine Roundtable. Gives you ideas on how to explore related topics. So basically, it puts a box under there that says here's a related topic and a little magnifying glass that says explore, and that will take you to AI mode.
Okay. Microsoft's testing a new and updated layout for Copilot. For its Copilot product search, you're going to see changes. Yeah. You know what? You're going to see changes in the way it looks. It's a test. We'll see what it looks like next week.
They're just swapping placements, and it may go away in a week after that. Google Bing Places has a new dashboard rolling out. So it has. It's now rolling out in businesses and Bing Place. I'll say that 5 times fast. Bing Places for Business. They just have a new design, new business experience. It's going to give you more user research stuff and better design, better user interface.
You know, at the end of the day, I hope I get to write Sam Altman's bio, because I want to write about the slow corruption of Sam Altman's soul. That seems to be what's happened in this journey since November 2022, when he released ChatGPT onto the world. He was so idealistic then, and he just seems to be, his soul just seems to be slowly deteriorating, flake by flake by flake by flake. See, when he started, he didn't want ads in the system at all. In fact, he was very scared of the power that LLMs might have over individual users once they really understood individual users and then started serving ads to them. But now that he's tried just about every other revenue model for his
that's not working.
And so maybe ads aren't really such a bad thing after all, and it looks like we're going to be seeing ads.
So here's what he said in 2024. I kind of hate ads as an aesthetic choice. I like that people pay for ChatGPT and that the answers they're getting are not influenced by advertisers. 2024. This year, recently in an interview in Strategy, I love Instagram ads. They've had value for me. I find stuff I never would have found. I bought a bunch of stuff. I actually like Instagram ads. I think there's many things I respect about Meta, but getting that so right was a surprisingly cool thing for me. Other than that, I view ads on the internet as sort of a tax. And then his March interview is like, he's much more excited to try the traditional ads that a lot of people use on maybe on deep research for e-commerce. So I won't read all the quotes too long. But basically, that's the idea. That's the evolution of his ideas on ads.
That very much looks like advertising is coming to the ChatGPT world.
Well, the end of the 5-year funding cycle is next year for him. So if they haven't started making real revenue, they're going to have a big problem. So
maybe you can just make a browser or an operating system or something. I hear people do really well to do that.
When you got billions of dollars to throw spaghetti against the wall, you hope something will eventually stick.
Oh, no, you're talking about the wrong cat. Sam Altman does not have billions of dollars. Everybody else does. He's the one who doesn't. He's using everybody else's money.
Well, that's what I mean. The company, not him. Yeah.
I mean, but seriously, Meta, that's that's owned by Zuckerberg. He's a billionaire. Grok, that's owned by Musk. He's a billionaire. Like, seriously.
TikTok's about to be owned by Andreessen and whoever Ellison, so both billionaires.
Both billionaires. So it's Sam Altman is the poor boy. He's only a multimillionaire as far as I know it.
Oh, I think he's in the 100 millions by now. But
that's multi.
Yeah.
Okay, we gone full clock, and I'm sure the folks at studio want to grab a coffee for the next people come in. So, on behalf of Christine Chackinger from Sites Without Walls, this is Jim Hedge from Digital Always Media, and you've been listening to Webcology on WMR, recorded live to podcast on the 9th of October, 2025. Friends, be kind to each other, be understanding of each other, be empathetic and love each other. Do your very best, rank well, be well, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye, everybody.